increased involvement of the laity, not just in the traditional sort of pay and obey mode, but one in which they can really make enormous contribution. We have thousands of retired people, devout Orthodox, who could help the church in this time of transition, who could help to administer it, that would help to relieve priests and put them, we have shortages of priests. You could bring lay people to do innumerable tasks. So we think that the succession issue, as it evolves, it relates to sort of what is the vision of the church in the Americas as we now move into, if you would, third and fourth generation. And we would hope that those who are responsible for this would take into account the sense of the church as a collective. What would the faithful in this country, what is their sense? And we would hope also, because the status of our patriarchate is not easy. It is in a country that has not been very friendly and conducive to it. It has been subject to, buffeted by political forces in that part of the world, and we would hope that that selection process would be free of those political forces, and that the decision would be one that would reflect the best interest of Christ's work in this hemisphere.
Follow up, your last statement, it's not realistic, having the influence patriarchate removed. My question, as far as the succession issue is concerned, refers to who is going to select eventually the new Archbishop in the United States, and what kind of public or layman participation you expect when you have a charter tying up this church as eparchia of the patriarchate. It's clear there that the decision will come from the patriarchate. And the feeling is that the trend that someone from the patriarchate will be sent here. And I don't think in any way the layman's feeling will be taken into account in any way. So what are you doing?
Okay, where I could respond, I think that it's a good point. Clearly the synod in the ecumenical synod at the patriarchate will make the decision, but that in no way precludes or prevents, Peter, the laity of the North and South America to convey to the patriarch and to the synod the sense of the criteria that would go into it. I think it, fair to say that it would be helpful if someone had lived in, or some sense of what contemporary society is evolving in this country. So I think that, again, I think that's part of the reason the Orthodox Christian laity has evolved, is that we think that those responsible ought to get some input from the broad community. Clergy, you have a Presbyter's Council, you have a Philoptochos, you have a Young Adult League, parish priests. So, I think that
if I may, another question, please.
Yeah, but Minerva wants to add something to that.
Okay, and then I will ask my next
Peter,
question.
I was once a member of the Fourth Estate, so Peter and I were counting, so he's getting back at me.
Women have to fight for the right of a microphone or something. No, I just want to add a footnote to this. The gentleman here asked how will the patriarchate or the synod be influenced, and I just wish to remind you that 30 some odd years ago, 35 years ago I think it was, the Greek Orthodox Youth of America sent a delegation to Istanbul, to the Holy Synod, to influence them to select Jacobus of Boston as the Archbishop of North and South America. And indeed, he was selected by the Synod at that time, and some influence had been exerted, so that when the question is who will exert influence, we, the people who are capable of influencing, will influence, because I think we know what our problems are and how we need to deal with them.
Yes, if I may continue, Mr. President, have you established any kind of communication with the patriarchate? Did you try to have an audience with the patriarch? Do you have any plans of visiting him and explain your position, your existence, and your goals?
I appreciate that question. In my term as president and prior to me, under the leadership of Sotiri, we have communicated with the patriarchate on numerous occasions. We have on our planning for next year, we would like to do a pilgrimage to the Holy Land and the patriarchate. And at this time, we are formulating a request for a special audience to the patriarch.
The enthronement.
In addition to that, we had representatives of OCL at the enthronement of Patriarch Bartholomeus. And we have great love and profound respect for the presence of His All Holiness, the Patriarch Bartholomeus, and we hope that we would have an extremely close relationship with the patriarchate.
We also had representation at the funeral of Patriarch Demetrius, Bishop River.
Yes, I thank you for adding that. We were also present at the funeral of Patriarch Demetrius. Any other questions?
Yes, just on religious news service. You said you don't have any theological disagreements with the Archdiocese. Now, I'm wondering if you could say something about your position on the role of women in the church, if there's any disagreement there. Is that
Our
correct?
feeling with respect to women in the church is that we should go back to the historical traditions of the Orthodox Church. And women were a very important and integral part of the spiritual tradition of the church. And we would pray and hope that we could return to that early period in our history. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your attendance, and I hope that our efforts today have helped to identify and explain what the Orthodox Christian laity is all about. We will continue to pursue our goals and prayerfully ask for your support. I would also like to recognize at this time the attendance of Father Nicholas Triandafilo, who is our official liaison, OCL, and His Eminence Archbishop Jacobus. May I say this, Father Nick, in front of our wonderful audience today, that we enjoy a very respectful and fine relationship with you. We hope that it would continue, and that we will look forward to making a great deal of progress in the future, Father. Thank you for being here. We appreciate that very much. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There's materials available at some of you at the table, and if you have any additional questions,